Hey everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm trying to do one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in the game. That is Block 15 mission for the Object 279E. Now, to unlock the Object 279E, which is the third vehicle in the second set of personal missions, you have to get either 3 first class badges within 15 games of each other, or alternatively you can try and do it with honors to get 3 ace tankers within 15 games. Now, this mission has been nerfed in 1.6, but for some reason I decided to push myself last patch while the missions were still relatively hard to do, or at least very hard to do. It took me a while, it took me quite a few months to be able to achieve them. And I have to, because I guess I did that because I wanted to at least have the Object 279E while it was at its most difficult state to unlock. Now in this patch, it's actually significantly a lot easier to unlock the Object 279E, and if you guys want to see a guide as to how I strategize my way through it and how maybe you guys can pick up some tips and tricks to be able to do it yourself, then definitely let me know. So our goal is to get 3 ace tankers in 15 games. Now they have to be in German or Japanese tanks, and it has to be tier 8+. So I decided to play German light tanks. Now I had a go playing the Tiger II because I thought, the Tiger II, I'll get ace tankers all the time with the Tiger II. My first ever tier 8 tank. I know how to play my heavies occasionally, right? And I can tell you, trying to get ace tankers in the Tiger II, it was very frustrating for me. Because quite often you would end up just in not the ideal scenario. There were lots of artillery on the enemy team, or you ended up on an open map which you couldn't manage to get rid of, even with having 2 maps to exclude. And it felt like I was just praying to the matchmaker to be able to get ace tankers in the Tiger II. And actually, I think I played the tank about 8 times and I didn't even get one. And obviously, if you can't get 1 in 8 games, then really you need to try a new strategy if you want to get 3 ace tankers within 15 games, right? So I turned to light tanks, and that's because I feel that in a light tank, it's just about aggression. Sometimes, obviously, luck can play a part, but if you're in a light tank, you can aggressively spot or you can aggressively damage. You're not relying on your armor. You're not really relying on a matchup. Light tanks are matchup irrelevant. It doesn't matter what kind of a matchup you get into. In fact, if you're in a +2 matchup, which obviously I can't be in the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen as it's a tier 10 tank, then you're going to be getting more experience because there's a little experience boost of 10% per tier that the enemy tank is ahead of you. So for example, 1,000 damage to a tier 10 tank is going to be worth, I guess, about 1,200 damage to an equal tier vehicle. So it's definitely something to take into consideration if you're trying to grind experience or alternatively trying to get ace tankers as I am now. So, German light tanks it was. And what German light tank am I going to play? Well, obviously it's not going to be the Black Dog. If you want to get ace tankers, you don't want to play premium tanks, because if you want to get them more often than not, or shall I say at least 3 in 15 games, in a premium vehicle, which a lot of people are playing it often, and they're setting exceptionally high ace tanker requirements in those kind of vehicles. So I decided to play standard German light tanks at tier 10 and tier 9, so there's only 2 that we're going to be able to play, the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen and the RU-251. Now, to be able to get experience in this situation, it's just about playing aggressively, because as you might have noticed, I haven't been able to achieve much spotting, have I? So I guess I'm going to have to track my opponents, try and lock them out in the open. Actually, talking about tracking now, we're starting to get a little bit more now that we're locking down the tracks of this Jagdtiger. You're up to 1,700. But before that, we were at 1,000, and considering how much vision we were putting out on the mid-ridge, it really wasn't working out too well for us. So the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen is this funny old German light tank where it's really fast, but it's very big. And when it's very big, it doesn't have very good camo, but it has excellent view range at 420, and so I've totally pimped that out with having a premium consumable, having situation awareness, recon, brothers in arms, and coated optics on this tank. And I think I've got something stupid like 530 meters view range, which really means that I'll be able to spot, irrelevant of what the tank is, even if it's probably moving, unless it's a light tank or even some of the more stealthy medium tanks or the tank destroyers in the game at max ranges of 445 meters spotting distance. And so that should really give me the edge. And I feel like when I'm playing light tanks, just the aggression should allow me at least to be able to get more ace tankers more often than I don't, because I can go where I want. Look at that spotting on that Rheinmetall Panzerwagen. We just lit him up from literally nearly at max range there. He's probably got, what, about 30% camo, and so if we've got 500 meters or 530 meters view range, we still shouldn't have spotted him at that distance, so I guess he was shooting. But even when he's shooting, he's probably still got 5 or 10% camo in that tank, and he wouldn't expect to get spotted at such a decent distance. Alright, so when you're trying to push for high experience games, it's all about knowing when it's time to push. There's a time when it's you have to lock down your position and play cautiously, when an aggressive play is going to more often than not end up with you just straight up dying. However, you really have to get a feel for when it's time to go in, and this is one of the best ways that you can all maximize your experience gain, or alternatively get more first class medals or get more ace tankers in a variety of vehicles. You have to know when it's time to just risk your hit points. One of the biggest differences between people who get more ace tankers or just, I guess, pad their stats up more are the ones that are going to be pushing aggressively at the end of the game when they have hit points to spare. And even if they don't have hit points to spare, our nice load of high explosive rounds there to go through the top of the griller, and I'm just looking for one here into the artillery, but the T-44 actually rams the GWE 100 to death. So is this going to be enough? Is the 7,000 combined in the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen and 4 kills going to be enough? And thankfully, yes it was. We get a scout medal for spotting how many of the enemy team? 10, just one more than we needed. And just the fact that we finished top on damage, as well as doing that 4,000 spotting and getting the most kills, 1,258, that's a low ace, but it's enough. And that's one of the reasons why I target underpowered tanks for getting first class and ace tanker badges for the final missions of down each of the nations for the Object 279E. And we've made a decent profit. Not too bad. But remember, this is only the first one. We've got to do it another 2 times within the next 14 games. So unfortunately, the next couple of games didn't go very well for me, including driving out in front of... quite a stubborn LT432 there. Okay. So, including driving out in front of a Jagdpanzer E100 and getting myself TK'd. Oh, well, that's nice. I guess the LT432 is saying push more bot. Okay, fine. That's good. Just, if you're wondering, like, when it's time to stop playing World of Tanks and maybe go out and do something else in your life, just take this LT432 as an example. At the start of the game, it says, I broke my monitor if we lose. I really hit my fist through the monitor. I hate this game. And then, of course, what happens when you're in that kind of a mood or an attitude, right? Then you are going to be pushing people out the way. And so he's accusing me of pushing him, say push more bot. Mate, I think it's just because you're like out of your mind mad. And the reason why I highlight this is because if you do feel like that when you're playing games, you're literally only thinking in such a narrow vision. You're only looking at what's directly ahead of you. You're not going to be taking into account the whole situation. You're going to be thinking so narrow-mindedly that you're going to, I guess, if the game rewards reckless aggression, then maybe, very seldomly, you're going to do well. But more often than not, in a game like this, where it's pretty much about 90% mental, and it's only about 10% of the actual micro in a game like this, or maybe like 20-30% micro, then you could do it exceptionally badly. So if you like this LT432 and you feel like that, then take a break, because it's only going to result in tilt and more losses. Now that I've addressed that, let's get back to what I'm trying to do here. And you'll notice that I'm actually pushing down trees in an interesting way. Do you see how I'm trying to align up the trees? Let's see if I got a third person camera for this install. Oh, I don't, unfortunately. But you see what I've done? I've aligned up the trees to give myself the most camo rating. And a lot of people realize that trees actually do give camo inside World of Tanks. So what I can do is I can use them to be able to fall back as much as I can and see if I can remain unspotted. Now this Object 430 is being very aggressive here, and I don't want this to happen because as soon as he gets opposite me, it's going to be an absolute pain in the backside for me to survive. So I'm thinking, shall I pull back right now? But if I pull back, I'm going to just allow that STA-1 to die. So you can see the thought process going through my head here. Is it right to stay? Should I fall back? And I was thinking, yeah, I can't hold here. I really can't hold here at the time. Remember that I'm trying to get ace tankers right now. And by sitting out here, if I get caught, that's not going to be an ace at all, is it? Whereas if I run away, maybe I can stay alive or even be able to get side shots on the 430 to be able to keep this game alive. Now, I did actually not get 2 ace tankers for 2 games in a row after the previous one that you saw. But look at what I'm going to achieve by falling back. By falling back here, I know I'm not going to help the STA-1 to live, but I think he was pretty much doomed considering a platoon of higher tier vehicles were after him. But I'm going to be able to get multiple shots on the enemies as they advance, and I'm not going to be spotted. But right now, I think it's actually time to see if we can make a stand against the Indian Panzer. But again, I'm thinking about running because there's a T-55A pushing forwards. And yeah, it's time to go again. I really don't want to leave this Su-130PM. But when I'm in this mentality of just being a little bit selfish and actually trying to get our ace tankers, it's what we're going to have to do. But it's in retrospect as well, I don't think it's just being selfish. How am I meant to hold back 2 tier 9 tanks and a tier 8 heavy that are trundling towards us when we have 1 glass cannon tank destroyer along with us? By falling back and creating new lines of fire, and as I'm a light tank, new lines of vision for our team, maybe we can keep ourselves in it for longer to be able to carry the game and just hold this flank. Because as you can see, our team are pushing through the center, our team are pushing through the east. If they can hold those positions and we can just stop the enemy from advancing through the west, then we should be good. Alright, so one through the lower plate there of the Object 430. I am firing premium rounds now. The premium rounds on the RU-251 have 250 pen instead of the 115 that the standard rounds will have. Oh, but look what the heat rounds don't do, and that is they don't go through hay bales, and so we're unable to go through the hay bale there against the T-55A, and then our follow-up heat round doesn't work out either. So I actually get blind fired there, or I think what actually happened is the Super Pershing on my team got spotted and then drove behind me, and so I end up losing 441 hit points to the IS-3. And I was rather upset about that at the time, I have to admit, because I'm on the edge of my seat right now, seeing if I'm going to be able to get 2 more ace tankers in the games that we have left. Alright, that's going to help. 1 into the 430. I look for the Super Pershing firing to see if he's going to team damage me, because these replays are from the last patch, while the missions were harder to be able to get the Object 279E. I push forwards, I spot the IS-3, I look for a shot on him, but it doesn't go through the front of the armor, probably because it hit the outside plate. He fires at the Super Pershing behind me, which means that I now can free shoot him, and the heat rounds won't be able to go through the side and the hull, so I'm just trying to find the upper plate, the flat plate, not the tracks here where the heat rounds will get absorbed to be able to keep putting out damage. And just 2 more will do it. There's 1. Will we deliver the coup de grace to the IS-3? Hopefully we can. Are we going to find the shot? I'm actually going to lock the guy down here and load high explosive rounds. And sometimes that's what you've got to do. I just managed to get 113 extra tracking against the guy, and I was loading those HE rounds to just keep spamming them at his tracks, and I probably would have been able to take him down considering he was only on 113 hit points. So look at the view range of the RU-251. This tank has 410 meters view range. The new British light tanks at tier 9 has got 390. Goodness gracious, this is what a real scout can do. It's faster than the British light tanks. It has better view range than the British light tanks. Sure, it's a little bit more bulky, but I don't really feel like the British light tanks with their size and also their speed are going to be able to avoid that many shells altogether. Anyway, I digress. Let's focus on what's at hand, and that is sneaking up behind this 430. It's time to play aggressive. It's time to take the fight to the enemy team. And it looks like the 4202 is thinking to do exactly that to me. And I want to see if I can fall back, because I was thinking the 430 was going to come after me, but instead the 4202 actually comes round the corner. And if you're wondering what happened there, that's because this tank has no gun depression over the back. So what I actually had to do there is turn the tank to the side to be able to depress the gun. Because look at the booty of this vehicle. Yeah, it is a thick old tank at the back, and you're not going to be able to depress the gun over it. So by turning to the side, I had enough depression to be able to go after the FV4202. Alright, 3 minutes left on this game. Time to be aggressive. I still have 665 hit points, which means that I can take a hit from anything on the enemy team unless they set me on fire, or they roll exceptionally high, or they load high explosive rounds. So I'm just going to keep harassing, and I'm thinking, okay, Scorpion G was last spotted on the map. Artillery hasn't been spotted yet. There's the artillery, and I've got high explosive rounds loaded here, so I'm going to be able to high roll into his vehicle with the HE, and the second one's going to finish him off. But now, unfortunately, the HE won't be useful against the Jagdtiger, but it's going to be very useful against the Scorpion, and there is a Stridsvagn 103B. Now, one interesting thing about this tank is it's actually got an incredible amount of spaced armor, so I won't be able to penetrate the high explosive round from the side, so I reload AP, and there we go, we secure the kill. And 7,000 combined? Most of that came at the end of the game just with that aggressive play, and it's very important to be alive at the end of the game and to have hit points to spend in that way. Will 7,000 combined in a tier 9 be enough? And once again, nailed it. And that was a huge feels good factor because I knew now that I only needed one more ace tanker in my next 10 games. 1,386 base was enough. We finished second on damage here with a decent amount of spotting, and the absolute tilt muppet of an LT432 died early, achieved very little, and finished in the bottom third. So to set the scene, the very next game I spawned in on Malinovka and I thought, oh, this is it. I'm going to be able to get it, right? And even though we got a scout medal, we got a patrol duty medal, we did 3,200 spotting and 2,300 regular damage, finishing second on damage again. We got 3 kills. It was not enough, boys and girls. It was a first class. Then we spawned in on mines, and even though I played very aggressively, we finished third on damage and we did 2,500 spotting. We couldn't quite squeak out enough, and it was another first class medal. So next up, I loaded in on Empire's border, and I was starting to get a little bit tense because even though I had 8 games left, after not getting an ace tanker for 2 battles and coming so close by getting first class medals, I was a little bit concerned about whether, you know, I mean, I was 1 game away from getting the Object 279E. You know, you've done all the missions for your Excalibur, you've done all the missions for the Chimera, then you've done, sometimes it took me an evening to be able to do a single mission for the Object 279E, and you had to do 15 of them, well 14 times 4 to be able to get towards the 15 ones, and then to be right here right now, yeah, it was edge of the seat stuff for me, and it was such a pleasure to be able to stream it all live on Twitch as well. So I've caught out this EBR Hotchkiss below me, but I managed to get spotted as well. So the RU-251 has better gun depression over the side of the tank than over the front, so if you'll see me driving in a little bit of a funny fashion, I was getting very frustrated at this point about not hitting all of these shots, because all of these shots could be the difference between getting that ace and not. And the shells flying just high over the EBR Hotchkiss, I was not happy about it. Maybe we could blind fire the guy. No, not as well. Oh, disappointing. One thing I love about the German light tanks are these high explosive rounds. The third high explosive round, or should I say the 3 key, to load the 90mm on this tank has 102mm of penetration and 320 alpha damage. And so it can do absolutely disgusting stuff. You can immediately see me loading high explosive rounds against this AMX 1357, who has already loaded a premium magazine and tried to get above me to finish me off there. But I'm thinking, shall I fall back? Shall I stay? And right now I was thinking, okay, it's time to fight. That AMX, he's going to reload. And I'm a tier 9 light tank. I need to take it to the enemy team. I'm not going to fight it out by being passive here. But in retrospect now, actually thinking about it, yeah, now that changes things. I've got another tier 9 tank above me and a tier 9 tank to my side. And so it is time to get out of there. It's time to fall back to be able to see if we can live to survive another time. And a bit of a handbrake turn to get into a defensive position, because I don't want to go around the corner because I was worried that there would be tanks maybe in this position. Now that I know the artillery isn't going to splash me, I can turn the fight on the enemy team. And we use a high explosive round to bash down the building against the T-55A, and oh, look at all of this spotting. I'm not going to complain about that, up to 1,000 spotting with a good amount against the tier 9 German reward medium tank. Which in retrospect, I guess I could have probably done this mission with that tank. Probably should have, because I was smashing ace tankers left, right and center, playing that vehicle to be able to get all the kills for the Object 279E mission that you probably saw on the channel a couple of weeks ago. Alright, so right now it's about just deciding which part of the map is strong and where can you take advantage of. Well, clearly, this part of the map, right in the center here, is nightmare strong for the enemy team. I don't want to go anywhere near that. However, I was just in a mood of let's just go in. Let the chips fall where they may and see what we can do. Even to the point where you see me reload a high explosive round here because I want to just trash the Chi-Ri. And I'm communicating with my team as well. I'm pinging on the map, I'm using my F keys, I'm letting them know what I'm planning. And if I let them know what I'm planning, then they're going to be more inclined to help me. And look at that, they're coming around the corner and they're actually distracting the enemy tanks, which is going to allow me to penetrate 3 high explosive rounds in a row on the back of these vehicles. Am I going to penetrate the 4th? I am actually, for 299. That is like 1,200 damage, if not nearly 1,500 damage just with those 4 shots. Absolutely mental stuff with these high explosive rounds. However, that one didn't manage to go into the back of the tank, and I was a little bit upset that I didn't load AP to finish the guy off. Shout out to Myth Color on my team as well. It was a pleasure to play with you, bud. And thank you for communicating in chat about the advance, and look what we managed to do. We just took out 2 tanks in quick succession, and now we can have pressure on the center of the map. Now we can go and try and harass all the enemies that are pushing around the west. I'm asking my team to defend the base. I really want to win this game. I want to stay in it for as long as I possibly can. And now it's time to unload high explosive rounds on the back of the GW Panther. If that one had high rolled, we would have killed him in a single shot. And you can see me hesitate thinking, who shall I shoot right now with the high explosive round? Shall I shoot the GW Panther or shall I shoot the GW Tiger? And I was thinking, because I only had one more high explosive round left, that I wanted to shoot that fellow and not shoot the GW Panther to finish him off, because I thought I could use the APCR for him and then I could manage to take out the GW Tiger after that. And you can see my aggression coming out in chat now. Kill all! Because of course, if my team come and cap, it's not going to help me get an ace tanker, right? If they cap, in fact, I'll probably end up getting a second-class medal in this game. I need to kill all. And yeah, in this scenario, I'm not playing to win. I'm playing to win for me. I'm playing to win a tank for me. I think that's what it comes down to. When I'm trying to do missions, yeah, I kind of would be willing to throw the game if I feel like it's the only way that I have to be able to get an ace tanker at this point. And so, well, let the chips fall where they may. I'm hoping that the advantage that we've given to our team will be enough to be able to shut down the enemies here. Look at this AMX, great reactions there. He realizes I'm coming in to ram him, and then I realize probably don't want to ram him when there's a whole glut of enemy tanks that will engage me if I do. I fire a high explosive round into the side of the T-29 there, a bit of a disappointment. I should have had AP loaded, and that means that I can no longer finish him off with my next shot. Now this AMX just being so disrespectful right now. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to make him respect me. Even though he's pumping my tank full of holes, as long as he doesn't set me on fire or ammo rack me right now, I should be fine. You can see that he sees that I'm aiming behind me, and he tries to be clever by actually trying to brake check me. But by brake checking me, it just means that he's completely stationary, and it takes all of the necessity to aim out the window there, so I get an even easier kill because he decided to try and turn. So I actually take a huge shot here from the IS-2, and if that guy had been using the big gun, which I could see that he wasn't, then I would have probably gone down in a single shot. But right now, I'm just trying to push as many kills as I possibly can. If I could get my 6th kill, maybe that's going to be an ace tanker. And my team are capping out, even though I asked the AMX 1375 on my team to not cap. I was hoping that maybe I was going to be able to do it. And oh dear, getting shut down before I pick up my 6th kill on the SU-152 because he derps a shell into the top of my turret over the ridge. Oh, boys and girls, I was nervous. I was sweating bullets. Is it going to be enough? Well, I think I'm just going to have to show you with my live reaction at the time. This is going to be so close. Hold on, I want chat to be with me as we see. Yes! Whoa! Yes! Come on! Oh, we did it. Okay, we got there. 3 aces in like 7 games in the end. Hell to the yeah. 1,328. 4,000 damage. Oh, nice to have to get 5 kills to get that. Yeah, come on. Let's go. I couldn't be happier. Unlocking the Object 279E with my 3rd ace tanker in 7 games, in under half of what you would have had to have done in a 1/3 of what the new requirements are. I think you got 20 games to be able to do it now. And this was just raw damage. This was 4K damage in a light tank. And this is one of the reasons why I just can't really get to grips with the British light tanks right now. Sometimes, with all due respect, your team are not worth spotting for, and you need raw damage to be able to win the battle. And that's where a German light tank with its like 2,000 base DPM combined with decent high explosive rounds is going to be able to carry in a game like this. And so there you have it. 3 of the most nail-biting games of my life to be able to unlock a vehicle that is, well, actually, you know what? You're going to have to wait for my full opinion on it, as I'm going to feature it on the channel very soon. And yeah, let me tell you, it's definitely going to be a video that you're going to want to watch about the Object 279E. And so that's it for today, ladies and gents. Hopefully you enjoyed this triple helping of German light tank gameplay, some of the more underrated light tanks in the game. Well, actually, no. The RU-251 is great at tier 9, but I'm not going to lie, the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen, there's a reason why it has the lowest win ratio of any tier 10 tank in the game at the moment. But Sometimes you want to play the underpowered tanks because then everybody else is going to be doing mediocre, and when you want to get your ace tankers or your first classes, they're going to be a lot easier. And when you need to get ace tankers more often than not, then it's definitely something that I would recommend targeting to be able to do so. But I'm kind of spoiling a whole video that I possibly want to make if you'll all be interested in it. My tips and tricks for being able to get through the missions towards the Object 279E. Maybe I could give you tank recommendations. Maybe I could just give you strategy recommendations for all of the different missions. Maybe give you a hot list of ones that I would personally consider skipping with all of your directives from the previous missions. Anyway, let me know if that's something you want. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video, or maybe it was just useful to you. If it was, give it a thumbs up, but if you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know what missions you're currently trying to achieve in World of Tanks. Are you still trying to unlock the T20 HTC, or maybe the T55A? Or are you still stuck on a few of the Object 260 missions? Or have you completed them all and you've already got all of the tanks and what are you doing in World of Tanks right now? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.